Hi, everyone. Happy Friday once again, and welcome back to Naylo's Thrift Talk. I'm Lola.
And I'm Nay.
And if this is your first time tuning in, we are a weekly YouTube show that talks about thrifting and selling on platforms like eBay and Poshmark, and ways that we can use sustainable practices in our lives to make a little money and also just enrich our own personal lives as well. So, welcome. And today we are talking all about bread and butter brands, which is harder to say than I expected. So say that 3 times fast. Bread and butter brands are. Oh, Nate, I hear an echo on your end, I think.
On my end?
Yeah, I hear myself.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't hear it. I don't know what to do.
It's me then. So bread and butter brands are the mall brands that might not sell for a ton on places like eBay and Poshmark, but that can be really, surefire sellers in the long run and can help bring customers to your store. So that is what we will be talking about today. And next week, we have another fun episode. I don't know if you have the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, that's fine. I had that after our segments.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, there we go.
So we'll have this coming up next week is all about ties and scarves. So one of our favorite things to thrift are scarves, and ties are also sort of in that category of lightweight items. If you find them at the bins, they're really inexpensive and can be fun to go through a whole pile of because you never know what sort of gems are going to come out. So we will talk all about it.
Yes, and I have found some good ties, and I've made some money on both scarves and ties. Sometimes I don't make money on them, but sometimes I do. So we'll talk about what to avoid, what to look for, and
and I've talked a little bit too about how I'll use scarves to package some of my higher end sales, things like that. So there's other creative ways that you can use them. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Yes, and I forgot to get an image up, so I'm trying. Yeah, let's see if that works there.
I wanted to say Happy New Year to all of our Jewish viewers, and I hope that the New Year is sweet and that all the 2020 energy is actually, going to dissipate with the New Year here. So that would be wonderful if if we can all turn a new leaf. So
yes, and I mention this every week. So yes, that is what I wanted. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is my my page where I have a Facebook business page, which is NS Designs or N Shearstone Designs, and sorry about that. Message open. And it is. I have some designs on there that I feature, but what I'm doing is I'm offering packages for online sellers right now. So if you buy one package, you will get 25% off. So if you need an eBay store and an Etsy store, let's say, you will have you can get both. I also have 3 packages and 3 different price points. So my lowest packages, they start at $150, so it's affordable for everyone. And you really do get a lot for each package. And you could customize them or add a la carte items as well. So, for anyone interested, you can message me or let me know on my Facebook business page.
you can work every week on our show too, so you can see a little example of how great she is. And
thank you. Yes, and I have here my next segment. So, Lola, what are you wearing that's thrifted today?
Well, Jason in the chat was saying a sweater. How is it cold? It's cold because I live in New England and it is now fall. Although I have to say it is a little early. I'm getting a little warm, but I wanted to wear this because this is one of my favorite vintage mall brand. I wouldn't call it quite bread and butter, but it's United Colors of Benetin from like the 80s. 90s, and it has this like great.
Oh, I love you. I love some of the Benetin vintage stuff. Yeah.
And then I'm wearing the stand up for. You can't see super well, but these are the black leather pants that I showed
last week, the J brand.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they fit perfectly, like literally like a glove. I'm so happy. And so that helped pull together my outfit today. I'm sorry, Jason. You said
so. I am also wearing a sweater.
Not quite as thick.
Not quite. No, not like a wool snuggly sweater, but still, it is getting cold here. So it is getting cold in other parts of the country that are not Vegas. So it is. I would say it's in the 50, maybe 60s, low 60s.
Yeah,
today.
definitely.
But it's pretty cool. So I am all butter, blah, blah, blah. I am all bread and buttered up today. So I have on, this is just a Gap cardigan. It came in one of the blue boxes, and it is just, comfy Gap. It's got pockets, and, it's kind of cozy. So I just wear it around the house, and, if I'm going to the store or whatever, it's just like kind of one of those nice sweaters that goes with everything. So that's that. And then underneath I have a Style & Company, which is a Macy's house brand. It's just a t-shirt. This also came in a blue box, and because it's just a plain t-shirt, something in this brand that doesn't have tags is really not going to sell for much. So I just kept it for myself. My earrings. We should put us up on the big screen. I forgot about that.
Oh, yep. You do that.
Can you flip? Thank you. So yeah, so there's my Gap sweater, my Style & Company, and my earrings came in a Goodwill, shopgoodwill.com. I got a lot.
I love those.
I got a lot of silver earrings. I think these are just costume. They feel, they're kind of heavy. I think that they're at least hypoallergenic, if not sterling, but there were probably like 7 or 8 pairs, and I won the lot for $6.99 plus shipping. So yeah, so really good deal. And this is actually a belt from a Lily Pulitzer skirt that I have I'm wearing as a headband. The skirt has a big, huge hole in it. So yeah, and I didn't realize that. I think I got it actually like at one of those like discount thrift sales, and I think I only paid like $1 or so for it, and that's probably why it was there.
One of those times when it's so cheap that you figure
so the skirt is just a black skirt. It's got like this ribbon trim on the inside, but it's just black, so it's really not even anything special. The belt was what made it, but I'm wearing the belt as
so it wasn't a loss at all.
Yeah, so it's a Lily Pulitzer, and so I got like $1 headband basically. And I think it's about 57 here too, Lola. That sounds about right. So
I stepped out real quick just to check the mail, and it definitely felt like the perfect crisp fall day. It was like, I'm gonna go sit outside later.
It does feel nice actually. And I am going to let you do the home decor first because I have to go grab my item again. I keep
go run and get it. So mine.
Yeah, let me just
stand up again for this one because it's a little awkward. But
hold on a second. There's our home decor segment, and then I'll turn you back on.
So this is a vintage stool.
Ooh.
It was at some point someone else's art project. They repainted it and added this like really pretty sort of 30s like vintage fabric on the top. And I got this at the Brooklyn Flea when I lived in New York after college, so over a decade ago. And it's come with me all over the place, and I've used it as a bedside table and like a little bookshelf. And currently it does not have a home. So I've been like carrying it around from room to room in the house, like trying to figure out where it can live now because I'm determined to find a place for it because it's really special just since it's sort of like seen me through so many stages of life already. And it's such a cute piece. And it reminds me, I'll never forget the time I got it and took it on the N train all the way from downtown Brooklyn back to Astoria and like had to like
that's funny
use it to kind of
an interesting train ride, I guess.
Quite an interesting train ride.
Yeah,
so it's good memories. So
very cool.
That is my
I have this at Jason sent me a little gift. I love Audrey Hepburn, and he sent me this little. It's a blank notebook, and I'm having some memory issues. I think part of it is like my medication. Part of it is just going through like having cancer drugs in my system, and all everybody says they get like that. So anyway, and probably a little bit too because
there's also so much going on this year. I feel like even if you
that's the thing, I'm so overwhelmed with the kids and with art projects, a million things going on that I can't keep everything straight. And I find that if I put it in my phone, I don't remember. But if I write it down, I do. So I'm using this as my new list book, and it sits on my nightstand. So it also serves as a home decor piece. So thank you, Jason. I love this. And he thrifted it from Savers, of course. So I think that the Savers tag might have still been on it.
I would have been shocked if he bought it new.
Oh yeah. And there's the card that he wrote me on eBay.
So cute. So. Yeah, he says fresh from Savers. No.
Yes. And I also have this. It's the Crazy Cat Lady.
Oh my gosh.
Set.
It looks like you.
So yeah.
Well, her hair is not quite red, but it's the long.
No, but it's I hope I don't ever become that, but I could see myself actually living happily with a bunch of cats.
I'm pretty sure if I weren't married, I would be a crazy cat lady. I would have so many cats because there's so many times I've seen a stray and Chris has been like, no, Lola, you cannot bring that cat home. The only time we did was Mookie. So
and you weren't going to keep Mookie.
We weren't going to keep Mookie, and he decided that
you were keeping it. Yes. Yes. So I guess we'll get into our segment. So we'll be talking about bread and butter brands. So this was, I have to give Lola so much credit because I have been knee deep in kids and freelance jobs, and I was just so stressed out yesterday, and she basically wrote our whole outline for today. So thank you, Lola, for that.
You've done a lot of shows in the past, so
I know, but I appreciate I appreciate your hard work today. So
it's funny because I think I was the one who came up with this idea for an episode, but you're always the one who's actually advocating bread and butter brands.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's
I skip them way more than you do, but I think you have some good reasons for picking them up, and especially
I like having them in my closet in my store, and yeah. So what is a bread and butter brand? Basically, this is my assessment, and then you can add a little, I guess. So basically, it's those brands that are not necessarily holy grails, although I think some of these brands do have holy grails in them, but for the most part, they're very plentiful in the thrift stores. You can find them often, on discount days. They're those brands that are popular and don't bring a lot of profits. So you want to get them at a lower price, but they're steady sellers. And they're good fillers for your closet, your Poshmark closet, or your store. And when added up, all of these smaller sales will, they'll add up. And if you sell enough volume of bread and butter, there's sellers that just sell bread and butter brands, and they sell at such a high volume that they do great.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, totally. And I know you mentioned this, which I think makes it perfectly relevant for our current pandemic times, that a lot of your bread and butter pieces are things you'll get in a Goodwill Blue Box or something like that.
Yes.
So it's a good thing to sort of keep an open mind about when we're sourcing online and buying lots and having a little bit less control over what we pick up, to know how they can help your store and things like that. And I would say, for me, the interesting thing about the bread and butter brands is that they're always the brands that are at the top of different platforms, like most popular searches. So like we were looking at that report from Poshmark the other week, where it had the top brands almost never change. So the trending brands change, but the actual ones at the top in each category are pretty much the same. And they're the usual suspects you'd expect, like Anthropology and Free People, and I think Forever 21 was on the list. So even if they're not the most, high profit items are the ones that are getting searched the most. They're the ones that people are looking for. And they will move. And, especially on Poshmark where there's an incentive to bundle your items, if someone's eyeing a $10, $8 Forever 21 shirt and then something else catches their eye, they're that much more likely to then impulse buy something else to justify the cost of shipping and that. So they're definitely strategic pieces, and also they're just easier. There's less of a barrier to entry. So if you're a new seller and you're trying to figure out where to start, some of these brands it's easy to find them in thrift stores and to pick out the best pieces of those brands in your thrift store. So that can be maybe a little bit less daunting than looking for the huge bolo holy grails we talk about sometimes. So
right,
there's that aspect too.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up. I guess I didn't put up I made a slide with like all the brands on it, but somehow it didn't get put in here. So I'm just going to pull it up while you're.
Okay. Yeah, I can start. So I just went through a bunch of brands that I personally have looked for or, thrifted in the past and resold. A lot of the usual suspects. There's definitely more that there's so many brands that we won't have time to cover all of them, but I just wanted to go over the ones that I'm the most familiar with and look them up, see what's selling right now, see if I could kind of pick out any trends and guidelines for what is worth picking up. So there definitely were a lot of, very clear trends in what were the higher selling items, what were the items that were coming up the most often in the sold searches. So the first brand that, not Madewell, first brand I thought we would talk about is J. Crew. So this is a screenshot from some of the most recent sold items some of the recent highest priced sell items on Poshmark. And a couple of things to note here are outerwear, which I noticed across the board, even if it's a bread and butter brand, if you find a good quality coat, especially this time of year, especially if it's a trending piece. So, a couple styles that are really popular seem to be the cocoon or teddy bear coats are still in. There's some more like military style coats seem to be selling well, but anything like these are pretty, warm, functional coats that once it's wintertime, people need, functional outerwear. So there's that. And then the J. Crew Brulee costume jewelry is really beautiful. And I didn't realize just how high the prices could go. So there were a lot of necklaces. They come in all different colors, but they all have these sort of iridescent, chunky faux gemstones. And there were many sales that were over $200. And then a lot more that were also, 50, 75. So still pretty significant. And then accessories, shoes, bags across the board. So not just J. Crew, but a lot of the brands that I looked at had, those seem to keep their value a little bit more as well. And then Maxi Dress is another item that seemed to really retain their value, especially in J. Crew and Anthropology, which is another brand you can talk about. So this one's like, super on trend with the tiers and the ruffles, and was not surprised to see it go for quite a bit. And this was new at tags, but this was right in line with sort of what I was expecting to see. And then this is another dress, the specific style. So there will be an item that's released by, a big mall brand that becomes really popular on blogs or on Instagram, things like that. Blogs less than used to be. Now it's more like Instagram influencers, but probably TikTok also now at this point. So those are the ones where you want to know like the actual name of the style. I think this was one of those. It was just really beautiful. Should have gotten a screenshot of the actual image item photo, but the Versailles dress looks like one of those where people are looking for that exact style. And so having the keyword, the name in there is important. And then this is on eBay just to show that the sort of difference between platforms. On eBay, I think some of those high-end items would also go for, a good chunk of money, but it still seemed that in general, the prices were a little bit lower. And this one I was looking specifically at the collection because there weren't that many sold on Poshmark, but J. Crew collection is the sort of highest end tier of J. Crew's items. So it's a little bit more fashion forward, but specifically, I think more like high-end materials and very structured. So here there's the top example is a 100% cashmere hoodie. So that was $79. Anything with cashmere is always going to be good, even if it's not a super high-end brand. Some of the items are here total duds. I mean, they're fine, but $750 for one. So not necessarily going to, any collection piece is going to be a high-end piece or high seller piece. And the others were, 20, 28. So and that one was actually the $20 was international, but so not every piece from a brand, even the higher end collection, is going to be made equal. So it does make sense to check your comps if you're on the fence. But I mean, for most of these, maybe the $7 one for me personally, I don't know if I would invest in to resell, but for $20, $30 probably. And then same company as J. Crew, although there's been, Nate, do you want to jump in?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I just put that up there. I just plowed into the middle of I just wanted to show this real quick. This is kind of a list of some of the bread and butter brands that I had put together. Mm-hmm. So you can see some of the popular ones there: Loft, American Eagle, Victoria's Secret, ASOS, Lane Bryant, White House Black Market, Talbot's is on there, Gap, Banana Republic, J. Crew, Old Navy, Madewell, Ann Taylor, and Loft. And Loft is an Ann Taylor company. Mm. Anthropology, Maurice's is one that I see a lot on Posh. Kohl's is, we'll talk about that a little. Target, H&M, Abercrombie, Express, American Eagle. They're just some of the brands. So, and then, sorry, Lola, I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay. It's so weird I don't know how anybody does this all on their own without a co-host, because it is so weird.
I know.
But Mookie's also here. Anyway, so I was just in the middle of talking about J. Crew and Madewell. And as I'm going, I'm trying to also pick out some of the trends I found that were sort of across the board, at least at all of the bread and butter brands I looked at, look through solds on. So this is I'm not going to look at every single brand that they brought up on that image, but I do think that most of these things I noticed are kind of also applicable in other brand situations. So, okay. So, Madewell is like the most successful part of the J. Crew company. And I know that because J. Crew recently filed for bankruptcy, there was talk about a Madewell splitting off and becoming its own company. So I don't know I haven't been following that super closely because there's so much else going on in the world, but that's, one thing to keep in mind is which companies own similar brands, because they do tend to have sort of similar business practices or kind of consistencies between the brands that can help you. For instance, with Madewell and J. Crew, they both have a item code on the inside tag that you can find that has the year of the collection, as well as the item, like the code for the item. So you can Google that and usually find the original listing and how much it sold for and comps from other platforms, things like that. So Madewell, like J. Crew, a lot of the top price point items on Poshmark in the solds were outerwear, and for Madewell specifically leather goods. So lots and lots of leather jackets, and they are quite high price items. So if you ever find a leather jacket, I feel like that's probably like a holy grail item. I definitely would probably keep it for myself if I found one. But, those are like selling all day, every day. And then also some denim items. So like this one was in, the very top of the solds was a like a dress smock kind of piece. And then as we were talking about work from home fashion, there are definitely trends, popping up in these solds as well. So like I mentioned, the sweater, the long, like sweater coats or long cardigans are generally going to be higher price items because they just are expensive in general. They're expensive new. And so this one actually looks like it sold for over the original price, if I'm looking at that correctly. But this is one of those items. It's like a boiled wool coat. So super in right now for work from home. And then moving on to H&M, which is another brand. I think of it in my head more along the lines of like Forever 21, where a lot of the pieces can be quite trendy, but don't really hold their value as much. There are some incredibly important exceptions. And I talked about this collab on, I don't remember how long ago it was. It was a while ago, because I actually did buy a couple pieces from the retail store from this collaboration and hoped to sell them for a little bit of a profit, just as an experiment. And unfortunately, the pieces that I got were not great. I didn't go until like the day or two after the collections in the stores. So I think by the time I got there, the really in-demand items had sold out. But the really in-demand items from that same collection, they were in demand, are still in demand now. So these are like the thigh-high boots, and those sold for over $1,000. And there's also, the Balmain collection is another collab that was just like a holy grail. So those items always are, consistently, I think, hundreds, if not in the thousands. And then, but Nay, you said you had an example of an H&M collab that you cannot sell for anything.
Yeah, I do actually. I have in my Poshmark closet, I'll pull it up in a minute.
Sure.
If you can. Yeah, let me.
So while you're doing that, I did want to talk about more in terms of like family brands within the same parent company. Another one to know for H&M is In Other Stories, which is it's a store that has more retail locations in Europe than does in the US. And I think in the US, last time I checked, they may have expanded, they had stores in only like LA and New York. So people who are looking for those, brand items are probably looking online anyway, and may be more open to buying them online from, secondhand. I have sold a couple pieces of that brand, just like the very basic items. Button-down shirt is one thing that's like really classic from them. They do these like really beautiful minimalist button-down shirts, and usually they're made of silk. And almost always, I think they sell for like $45, $50. So there's, the like slightly higher tier family brands can sometimes be, be good to pick out. In J. Crew's case, I think they're losing some of their like cool factor, but in Other Stories,
they tried to do
the minimalist kind of
J. Crew. They're doing crew cuts now for kids. J. Crew,
yes,
a brand called Crew Cuts, and I think that's kind of doing well for kids clothing. But
yeah,
I think they're trying. Yeah,
I had some crew cuts that I got from a Goodwill Blue Box, and I remember looking them up and being kind of pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, they do well.
They do well. Sorry.
So that's a kids' clothes bolo that for J. Crew. So this is a Versace for H&M. It's a silk fringe skirt and top, so it's kind of like a two-piece dress, really. But it is, I thought Versace for H&M would do well.
I remember this piece. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
And I got it. I paid $10 for it at Goodwill because I thought, it was in excellent condition, and I thought for sure it would sell. It's a size 4, but that doesn't, on Poshmark, a size 4 is not something that won't sell, especially for something like this.
Yeah.
But I cannot sell it for the life of me. I've had, a lot of, comments on it, and I've had likes on it, but I have 39 people that have liked it. But the only offer I had was somebody wanted to separate the top and the bottom, and they wanted to get me to sell it to them for like $20 or something. and I didn't want to split it up for that. It wasn't worth it to me. So I started this out like at like $100, and I have it down to 56, and I'm making offers lower than that, and I still can't sell it. So
have you tried changing the brand? Because you have it as Versace for H&M instead of just H&M. Did you list it as H&M also, or did you always have it that way?
Well, I think in the actual brand, I guess I have it as Versace for H&M, but
you might try doing the like copy and relist feature and changing
and just do it as H&M and just do Versace for H&M in the actual title.
I wouldn't have known this until like yesterday, but I did have a really hard time finding the collab items on Poshmark, and there were a lot that were listed like kind of correctly as the like Versace for H&M type listing. So if you're a buyer, you might have trouble finding them in search that way.
Okay, well that's a good point. I'll do that today,
Yeah, it's worth a shot, and it's also, it's a good experiment because that would be a good thing to know going forward. I was thinking about that actually as I was searching. So
yeah, so that's interesting. I will edit it. I'm editing it right now.
Okay, well we'll see
if that works. Yeah, we'll have to see. So yeah, see, I have Versace for H&M, so I guess just H&M. You're saying?
Yeah, because I mean, it's in this case, it is still correct. It's not the most precise, but H&M is going to just have a lot more. And actually, this is another good reason to be listing bread and butter brands on the screen right now. How Poshmark does their parties is that sometimes, especially at like the noon party, they do certain brands, and often those brands are the bread and butter brands. So these are brands that will get you more exposure on Poshmark just because you have a chance to.
Yeah, I agree. I had made that point in my notes that I think that on eBay and Mercari and other, but especially on Poshmark, you really want those bread and butter I cannot say
I did the same thing at the top of the episode.
You want those brands in your closet because they are going to bring you buyers, and some of those buyers might pick up those Prada shoes while they're buying their J. Crew top, or it definitely gives and more exposure means more shares, more follows, and more traffic to your store in general. So I definitely think that it's good, and they're not only good fillers, but they're good advertising in a way, because
it's a great way of putting it. Good advertising.
Yeah, because a lot of those, even if you're only making a $10 sale, that might have gotten you 10 more buyers into your closet, and maybe one of those bought something that wouldn't have if you didn't have that $10 sale in there, that item, so you have to look at it that way too.
There's also the algorithm to think about. So, it's easier to get likes on very popular brands because more people are browsing them. So then you get people liking your item, and even if they don't buy it, and it's helping the algorithm show that you have in-demand items and that, you should come up like sooner.
So Heather, now maybe I don't know if you're thinking the same thing as me, Lola, but the reason I wouldn't put Versace instead of H&M is because I think it's misleading. And I think that a buyer might not realize that, because people don't always look at all the pictures. They don't always look at the description, and they might think it's just Versace, and then they might get it, realize that it's H&M and be disappointed. And then, you might get sorry, it has a big stain on it or something, and they want to return it because, when it really, I'm just saying, like on Poshmark, there's no returns for fit or for, so they might, kind of work the system. I'm not saying buyers are all unscrupulous or anything like that. I'm just saying that, you're opening the door for issues if, I think, Yeah,
I've definitely been sort of tricked, not really tricked, but just browsing. If I'm looking at, say, like Lily Pulitzer. That's one where a lot of the Lily Pulitzer for Target will be listed under Lily Pulitzer. And it is a little frustrating to have to look really closely at the item to figure out, unless you some of them, the designs by sight, but not everybody does. So
I think
it's better safe than sorry to
collab with the lesser brand rather than the, Yeah.
And also the store it was sold in, because like I think that's the big differentiating factor. Like, one thing that I should have mentioned for J. Crew that I skipped over is that they also do collabs, and a lot of the collabs that they work with are companies that are pretty much in the same price range that are, even for the non-J. Crew items, usually maybe like a little bit more expensive, but not significantly so. And those items are very good sellers. I've had really good luck with them in the past, and I would still definitely list those as J. Crew, just because that's where they're sold, as opposed to in the store of the collaborating brand.
Right.
So I was going to jump into.
Yes. I think Lola might have froze. Okay. So, you froze. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Wait, let me just share this real quick, because I actually thought this was a really good article that was interesting as an article, but also had some good information about the J. Crew collab. And of course, there's a huge ad. Wow, seriously, there are like 5 different things to close on this. So this is from 2013, and this is super outdated as like J. Crew information, because this is, the company has taken a little bit of a dive since then, but they talk about sort of the process of collaborating, which is just interesting, kind of as like an insight into the fashion world. And then they name a few of the brands that J. Crew has collaborated with. And these are, great brands to know, and not necessarily brands I knew. But these are, generally brands that have good resale value, I think. And I have not found a J. Crew collab that like wasn't worth picking up. So even if it's not one you're familiar with, it's probably worth looking at. But so this is just, a little bit more information about what to be looking for. But these are older. This is from 2013, so there have been newer ones since then.
But we can put that in the description to that link. So, and did you talk about factory tags?
Oh no, I didn't.
Or outlet. I'm sorry, factory or outlet are kind of synonymous, but there is there's actually Gap and Old Navy outlet. There's factory. They call them factory. There's J. Crew outlet. There's just like there's Coach outlet. There's and the tags you are supposed to put outlet if it's an outlet brand, especially on Poshmark. I think buyers get a little annoyed if it's outlet and they didn't know it was outlet. But some of them actually say, like I have a loft top that I recently got, again in a blue box, I think, and it says outlet right on the tag, so I know that's outlet. So that's going to sell for a little less, but I'm going to put that in the actual listing. I think I might have actually listed that one already, but.
So every time I Google like how to tell outlet for blank brand, I always come to this blog post, and it is pretty good. So here's like Banana Republic. It shows you the difference between regular Banana Republic and the outlet with the little dots on it. So
yes,
yeah, the dots, or so his is in Kate Spade. We've talked about this before.
I think J. Crew has like a papery tag on the outlet, right? It's like a white kind of, isn't it?
Let's see. Oh, there's Ralph Lauren, Brooks Brothers, which is not quite in this range, but is a mall brand. The 346, and here you go, J. Crew. They do change also. Over time. The interior tags, like the color changes, but I think that the 2 diamonds is like pretty standard across the different designs. So that's probably the best way.
Okay.
So I'll add that link also into.
Yeah, so you have to, and you do, like I said, especially more so on Poshmark, definitely you want to note that it's outlet, because again, you'll have an unhappy buyer, because there are people that don't want the outlet, they want the regular, and
Right. And I would also just say I tend to look for flaws a little bit more carefully on outlet items. If there's one that I'm thinking about getting the design or something, that's cute piece, but they are made a little bit less like the quality level is lower, so they're more likely to wear out after a few washes, or
Yeah.
just have like flaws that would probably be deal breakers than the
Right.
Okay, so Zara is a really fun one because it's so fashion forward and it changes so quickly. So there is a lot that I know, like a lot of pieces that you kind of have to think of in terms of style and keeping in tune to like what's popular. But there are some exceptions. So one that I noticed a lot for Zara in particular, but also for other brands, is that the items that were worn in a TV show or on or a movie or just any celebrity. So this one was from 50 Shades. And you will see a lot of European sales.
Yeah, so it's a European brand like H&M, and yeah.
Yeah.
ASOS is another one that's
Yeah. So here you have the so the top one is actually not a Zara piece. It was from one of the sister brands, but worn by a celebrity, the outerwear, and then below it, the embroidered and sequined kimono falls into that category of like the work from home kind of
Can you
glam.
zoom up on those a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
They're really hard to see.
Sorry, I did all of this from my phone yesterday, so
no, it's okay. Yeah, just trying to
yeah. So there's multiple sales of the same two items on this. So so you can really like when you're looking at the highest priced recent solds, you can really see some trends of like specific items that are really sought after.
Yeah, some of them will. And I don't see Jason in the chat right now. He might be still listening, but I am going to call him out because he did. I remember he was going through, I think it was a blue box. And he was like, oh, Zara, what a crappy brand. And he just like, and I was like, no, it's because it is actually, yes, it's a lower end brand, but not only do you want to have that in your on Poshmark, men's and women's, it'll sell, but you also want to make sure that there are some holy grails, and there's people that are so dedicated to that brand that they'll buy the items that are discontinued. They'll look for those and they'll pay for them.
Yeah,
so,
and I think it's a great example.
You said what?
It's a great example of like an influencer driven brand. So there's certain pieces that will get really popular. So right now, I think everyone's talking about the strawberry dress, which is not a Zara dress as far as I know, but like last year there was a dress that was like the Zara dress.
Yeah.
It was impossible to get. It was really expensive to get secondhand. So, as soon as something becomes super popular, especially because it is sort of an accessible price point of a brand, it's easier for people to see it on someone that they admire their style and say, oh, I could totally buy that. And then it kind of catches on like wildfire. So influencer marketing is a real thing, and it is helpful for us to keep tabs on it because it can result in some of those solos. So here's a Zara dress that is as seen on Meghan Markle. I don't know if I would personally list with celebrity photos like this. It's a little bit of keyword spamming, but it definitely works.
Poor Jason, I called him out. Like, it's like making an example out of him, but I didn't mean it that way. It was just like, a lot of people think that though, they think, oh, it's a cheap, but really you need that brand. You need it in your Poshmark closet, and you need to know that it will sell, that people are very dedicated to it. As you're showing, there are some that will sell.
So I think this is the Zara dress.
Okay.
So you can see it's like very kind of minimalist and easy to wear, looks great on a variety of body shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So it is one of those, like, of course, it makes sense that this is one of those.
And that's approximately $201.53 US dollars. So yeah. And that ended at 15 bids. So yeah, that's pretty good. So you have to pay attention to the items that you do have. And then I've had some great Zara sales, I mean, I haven't had anything in that range where I've had a Zara, but I've had some really nice, steady Zara sales that have been, nice. I paid a couple dollars for it and I sell it for $30 and I'm happy, so.
Yeah, those are definitely the like highest of the highest sales, but I definitely have found some Zara pieces that remind me of more expensive brands like Reformation, things like that, and those
Yeah.
sell on style. So that's what's just fun for me. You can also Google like what to buy at Zara, fall 2020, and you'll definitely find some roundups of what items are really in. And so of course those might not be in the thrift stores just yet or right now, but you can look for those similar styles. And it's just a really easy way to kind of keep tabs on what's in demand and also what's available at bread and butter type level stores that are more likely to be in thrift shops than the original high-end pieces that inspired them. And then Forever 21, I think, is kind of similar to Zara in some ways. So this is another example of like an as seen on piece. That is an extremely high price for a Forever 21 sweater. So there's a few outliers like that. I definitely wouldn't expect to find one of these pieces in the thrift store. I'd be very lucky if I did, but they do exist. What I am kicking myself I did not buy when it was in the store because I had it in my cart and then resisted was this collab. So the USPS did a collaboration with Forever 21. I think it was like last year or the year before. And they've been popular with the sort of streetwear vibe, I think, anyway, but especially now with the postal service sort of in the news a lot, I'm imagining that these are even more in demand. So they've been like really cute hoodies. I know they had like biker shorts was the only piece I could find that was not astronomically high either on eBay or on Poshmark. So if you see one of these items, grab it and then let me know. We can talk. But Forever 21 does have a few collabs, and for them it's less of the like working with another high-end or another brand that's like higher end than they are, as working with like really distinctive brands and logos and kind of like iconic imagery like this. So USPS.
And you can do well with, I mean, I think it was last week I showed, and it wasn't a big sale granted, but I got it again in a blue box, and it was like one of those 10 for 10 blue boxes. So it was like, I paid like, $1 for the item, and I sold it almost immediately on Depop for like, I think it was only $15, but still it was I thought it looked like such a dud dress, but I played up the fact that it was that ribbed cotton and that it was actually a made in USA 90s Forever 21 piece. So, it has been around since the 90s. It was originally it was in California, and it was originally under a different name, and I forget what that name was. And then I think in the late 90s they changed to Forever 21, but yeah, there's some definite like loyal buyers, and a lot of buyers will buy on the look of it. So
oh yeah, for sure. I definitely, that piece that you sold from the blue box, I think if I had seen that on like $1 a day or something in the store, I would have grabbed it. It was so cute, and it definitely has that like the 90s, vintage look. It
was very tiny too. It was like an extra small, and it was like it fit like an extra small. But again, Depop buyers, tiny posh and Depop buyers, so don't let that dissuade you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, did you go to Anthro and Urban? Did you guys?
Not yet. That is.
Yeah, there's a lot of Anthro and Urban brands, but so Anthro and Urban are brands themselves, but then they have like subsidiary, like what would you?
It's kind of like the way Target has their brands, so they're house brands.
That's a good.
And I know recently, like maybe a year and a half ago, Anthropology started putting like by Anthro or for Anthro on their tags. So it's actually easier now for the newer pieces to tell that they're
funny. The older pieces were like that too, because in the old days, yes, like way back in the day, the brand was just Anthropology. I have a jumpsuit somewhere in my storage unit somewhere. I got to dig that out. That just says Anthropology. Yes. So, and it's old, like really old. So yeah.
That's so funny. I do have one extremely old Urban Outfitters shirt, which I think we were together when I found it. And it does only say, it says Urban Outfitters, and then underneath it says like Cambridge and Philadelphia, which were the only 2 cities it was in at the time.
Interesting.
Really cool. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm tempted to sell it. And then I realized it would get lost in the sea of like vintage inspired pieces of, that are Urban Outfitters. Cause how do you list like authentic vintage? I think it wouldn't really come up in search, but so I kept it. Yeah. So Anthropology is based in Philly. So when we were thrifting in Philly all the time, it was a brand that we would find pretty often.
Oh yeah, and a lot of new with tags Anthro items too.
Yeah, I think that the people who work there get a really good discount and are encouraged to wear the brands to work and stuff. So that explains. I remember one time I ran into a total stranger in Circle Thrift, but she was just like, we were both looking for the Anthropology brands, or we both like grabbed one off the rack, and she started going on and about like how all of the samples and stuff like were specifically donated to Circle Thrift. And I don't know if that's true. I definitely didn't see that many samples there. I think I saw a sample once, but it was kind of fun to connect with another like thrifter over the like hometown brand. So
yeah.
So the main brands are Anthropology, Free People, and Urban Outfitters. And they also own Beholden and Terrain. So Terrain is more home goods, and I think the only location is out in like the suburbs of Philly. I definitely see them come up on, they have an online store, but I don't think that they're like really in retail stores. I have not been in a retail store in quite a while, so my information there is maybe a little dated. Beholden is the wedding brand, and I've had really good luck selling some of the Beholden dresses. So it depends if you find a bridesmaid dress. If it's a very like basic color, maybe I don't know if I pick them up anymore. But if you do happen to find a wedding dress, those are one of the items that I think influencers really do, like the Zara pieces, do encourage people to look for secondhand, because they'll be on a wedding blog. People will fall in love with an older dress and just, be determined to track it down, which is what I've had happen with a couple dresses and the buyers I had for those dresses. So, for Anthropology, I used to pick it up every time I found it, and now I'm much pickier. I think that in the years we've been thrifting, both Anthropology and Free People have lost some of their resale value. Heather says retail. What's retail? Yeah, I mean, I was not shopping retail before the pandemic, and now that I haven't left the house since March, I definitely have not been in Anthropology for a while. I'm almost looking forward to it now.
It's good to go into those stores as a thrifter and as a reseller, though, just to get a kind of. You remember the time I went to the mall, Lola, and I texted you, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I had like culture shock because I hadn't been to the mall for so long, and I was like, "Wait a minute, there's Sephora and JCPenney, and there's like, do you remember that?"
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, "Yeah, you should really go to the mall a little more just to get." Because I hadn't been for so long that I was a little surprised that some of the we didn't answer this one from Heather. I saw that.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just trying to reply in the chat. Yes, they do. Almost all of them now, I think, have their own outlet brand like line. It's just almost a diffusion line. Definitely know it's true for Banana Republic, Gap, and Old Navy are very like well known for doing that. One of my cousins worked at corporate there for a while, and she definitely confirmed that for me. It's not a secret. Definitely, they have their own clothing. And then also true of J. Crew. I know for a while they have the Mercantile brand, which was also one of the outlet brands. If you see that sometimes, it is also outlet clothing. And then like Brooks Brothers, like I mentioned, the like 346 is their fancier version of calling an outlet brand. So it is good to know those. Or if you see something that's a little bit different about the label, to Google it, because it is likely to be one of those sort of like diffusion outlet type brands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So anyway, so Anthropology, and I mentioned this also for J. Crew, I think it holds true for a lot of these brands. The things that I will go for are like the maxi dresses and jumpsuits, which are like full length. So they're a lot of fabric and they're usually actual silk or
Yeah.
high quality fiber. That means that they were more expensive new and are probably going to hold their value used. So those are things that I tend to go by, like a rule to go by. And I saw that was still the case when I was looking at comps.
Right.
So for Free People, I know that for a long time the waffle tee or like the flannel, not flannel,
Like it's like a waffle knit, like almost like a thermal kind of
that sort of
loose and kind of
were really, really popular. I think those have kind of lost their value. I'd still pick them up probably, but you know, it'd be picky in that. But then also, you know, outerwear. I noticed that the Free People activewear seems to do well, especially if you have a matching set of like the bra and yoga pants. And then casual white dresses. So going back to the Beholden, I think that that's more of a bridal thing. And especially right now with people doing like a small ceremony and then planning to have a real wedding with a big reception once things have gotten a little bit safer, those kind of casual wedding dresses are definitely in demand right now. So I think that was probably explains the trend I saw in that, but they're also just like really pretty boho kind of dresses. So for Free People, I would pick those up still. But a lot of their like casual tops are known for developing holes really quickly. So if you see those, I would either pass or look really carefully at them.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Yeah. And then Anthro brands, I definitely find that some brands do better than others, even
like
though
HD in Paris does better than like Moth probably.
The sweater brands, Moth and Sparrow, I don't do well with. But yes, HD in Paris. The ones that have like a French name, which I won't try to pronounce.
Yeah, there's one that's I can't think off the top of my head. There's the postal brand that's just like the postal stamp kind of.
It just has the like
I
forget.
Snack, that's another one. Snack that I have a snack skirt that's new with tags that I can't sell. So I don't know if it's just because it's a skirt or. But yeah, there's some of the Anthro brands are definitely more successful than others.
So it's just something where if I have the time and I'm looking at a piece in a store, might do a quick Google. Usually you can find the item pretty easily just by the brand plus description.
Right.
Do they have, now I'm blanking, I'm probably going to say the wrong thing. I think they do now have some item numbers, but not always. Someone's going to correct me.
What's that for?
On Anthropology.
What do you mean?
Like item numbers on the tag inside that you can.
I'm not sure. I know they have. I know a lot of them do have Anthropology like on the inside where the care tag is underneath.
They have the
not all Anthropology, but
right. That's the other thing about Anthropology is that they do sell third-party brands in the store, and often if you find those items listed, you'll see like Anthropology in the title because it was sold there. So that's something you can figure out by looking.
Yeah, like I have I think it's a level 99 pair of shorts in my, not necessarily Anthro, but they were sold at Anthro, so it's like not sure if they're, but I did add that to the title because
I think that's a legit use of the keyword in that case. So lastly, Urban Outfitters, I mostly pass, although I think that there are some styles that are just really cute and are hard to pass up. And that's another item where it can bring in, people searching it. I don't know, Nate, what do you think about Urban?
I have a couple sales that I'm going to show, but they're not big sales. And for the most part, I think unless it's something really funky or again, like a maxi dress or, I have trouble selling. Like I've had Luxe. I've had, what else? I have oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of but I'm going to pull it. I'll pull it up in my store. But I've had, Urban brands and I do have trouble selling them, unfortunately. Some of them are really cute too, but
I do think that if you want to look for a good resource to know kind of what's trending right now, Urban Outfitters does a really good job of, for better or for worse, mass producing what is sort of the like DIY and kind of cutting edge. So it's like when something that was sort of counterculture or more niche goes mainstream, and Outfitters is on it. So you can kind of keep your finger on the pulse of trends that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Even
put
if
it.
you're not buying it from Urban Outfitters, just to get an idea of what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Are you pulling that? You pulling it?
Yeah, I was gonna. I don't know what it. Yeah, go ahead and keep talking. Oh, there it is. So here it is. It's Luxe. It is Luxe.
Oh yeah.
Luxe does not do well for me.
That and staring at stars are two that I always like. They catch my eye when I see them, like in the bins or on the rack.
Staring at stars,
because they're so cute. And then I usually pass, unless maybe it's at the bins. But
yeah, so this jacket, I have it currently at $26. You can see it's kind of like it's like a mix of a blazer, a shirt, and a hoodie. It's like kind of, like a hybrid kind of thing, but it's cool. It's like, it's got like that
really cool.
That kind of, yeah, but it just
that was probably not cheap unless it got down to the sale rack.
I think I paid like $4.99 for it.
No,
honestly.
No, in the store. Like,
yeah, when they, yeah, definitely. But I have it up for $26, and I have 22, 23, 24 likes on it and no takers. So I don't even think I've had any offers on it.
Maybe the likes are helping, push your visibility. So
yeah. Well, we'll see. So, okay.
And then the last brand group that I wanted to talk about, which I think you said you had some examples of, is Gap, Old Navy, and Banana Republic, which we talked a little.
Yeah, I do actually. I could pull some of those. So let me pull some of those up in my. So I'm in my closet here, and I'll pull up. So this is Banana Republic Millie collection.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. So Banana.
Yeah, well, Millie is kind of. I mean, I think it's not doing as well as so many other brands as it used to, but it is a higher end, considered a higher end brand. But they did a collab with Banana, and it's such a cute skirt, but I have it down to 21, and again, it's just not moving. So, I don't know if that means that it's just that skirt or. But I think I have sold other Millie collabs, and they have sold, so I don't know. But so it's there's Madewell, there's, you can see. So what I did was I moved the bread and butter brands to the top of my store. So here's a pair of Banana Republic men's jeans, and these are a good size and they're a good color. So I thought I put them up for 30, thinking maybe, and so maybe that, maybe that'll, but I do have some solds to show too. You can see though, these are all bread and butter brands in my store though. Not to get sidetracked. I know you're going to talk about Gap and all.
Oh no, it's like, yeah. So you didn't, like you said, you did organize them. So if anyone's watching and wants to kind of see some of your listings of these brands, they should be easy to find in your closet on Poshmark. So,
right now, but I'll be changing that soon. So.
If you're watching this soon after we're live.
Yeah.
So Banana Republic is another brand that does collabs, so like the Millie collab. And they also have an upper level and like slightly nicer sub brand called Monogram, which is also going to be defined by like a little bit more tailored, higher end materials. They do have a suiting line that's part of that. I definitely have struggled to sell a couple of those items, and looking at solds recently, it looks like they go in like the $15 to $40 range. So they're not like huge duds, but I think they also kind of, at least for me, they've sat for a while. So
So these old Navy pants here, I listed a little bit higher because of the fact, a few things. First of all, they're new with tags.
Mhm.
Second of all, they're a plus size. They're 14, but they're also a 14 tall. And tall sizes are kind of a rarity. So that's why I listed these higher. So
yeah. So
we'll
one thing that I noticed when I was looking through the solds for Old Navy is that almost everything was new with tags. It seemed like there's just a lot of options. So that makes me more hesitant to pick up anything that is used unless it's like a really specific, interesting piece, because you're going to be competing with a lot of new with tag options that are still cheaper than buying it from the website, or, you know, it's out, you know, it's no longer made and someone's looking for it.
Yeah, so you want to look for higher end yarns, and like there's one that says Felpucci yarn that that Lola and I always talk about that we see, because I found actual Felpucci yarn and we were saying like, oh, that's on the Banana Republic sweater. So that's a higher end yarn. This is another one. This is new with tags. It's a cute little shrug bolero sweater, and I have it up for $40. And it also is Italian yarn. So it actually says on the tag, you can see it says made of Italian yarn. So
yeah,
you know, so, and it's got the price tag still on it. It was originally $59.50. So some of this stuff is not cheap to begin with. You know, it's even Gap can be expensive. I think a lot of the older Gap too is sought out too, like the vintage Gap, because, and it actually back in the day it was made better too. This is cashmere. It is a petite size, but it's also cashmere. So I have that up a little bit higher too. So it's a luxury cashmere blend. So
I was just about to say that Banana Republic definitely has pieces that have better and lower blends of their fibers. So like some of the cashmere sweaters will be cashmere, some of them will be a very minuscule amount of cashmere, some will have more. So for that one, I would actually, if you have the time to go back, include the percentage of cashmere, because a 3% cashmere sweater is super different than like a 15% or a 30%, you know.
Okay, that's a good point.
So that's
Yeah.
something that people do pay attention to, especially this time of year when you're looking for your fall to winter wardrobe. And you might be wanting to invest in a couple like really nice sweaters. So
this is Maeve Anthropology. I did sell. I had two shirts that were similar. I sold the other one for about that price. This one still hasn't sold, but whoops. So, but you can see some of my bread and butter items here. I have pink Victoria's Secret. Now this is Fifth and Ocean. They collabed with Fifth and Ocean. You can see it U.S. Navy. So that's why, you know, I have that. Luella for Target was an older Target collab. Forever 21. Now this is a plus size. I only have it up for $12, but you know what? A plus size buyer might come into my closet, see that, and they might buy some Torrid or Lane Bryant or something else, you know, that's in there. There's that Anthropology snack skirt that I have. That's this one on the right that I can't seem to. ASOS is another one. There's a Target collab for Bal Garang. This is a cute Forever 21 shirt, this New York shirt that I have here. You know, and I kind of just have that at H&M again. White House Black Market, that's another one too. Marona is an older Target brand, but this is new with tags back when they actually did like nice wool blends. So Zara again. Talbot's is another one. This is Italian yarn. So, but you can see some of them. This is Forever 21 new with tags. So you can see like some of these. And if you want to go into I'll leave this up for a little bit. I'm not going to leave them up at the top of my store for too long, because I do have other things I want to put at the top.
But if you share your whole closet, they should still be like together, right? Like in a group together.
Well, not the way I share, but I can kind of keep them together. I scatter everything around all the time. So, but Free People is that striped sweater dress. This is Charlotte Russe, which is a really low end brand, but
very Forever 21 ish.
But I actually got it for free. A friend gave it to me to sell, and it is actually kind of nice. It's actually kind of like soft and like, you know, so sometimes those brands too. Yeah. this is Exhilaration. It's new with tags, but that's back when they had that. That's not as big. And then this is a Banana Republic one that I listed because, and I did put it up a little higher because it's an extra large, but the print is what would sell that.
Yeah.
So
this would be
I would never just like buy a shell top, or if it was just plain green or plain black or something, you know, I probably wouldn't have picked that up. But because it's got that cute print, that's what, you know, will sell it. So,
so this is what would be called a novelty print, which you can actually also use as a keyword if you want to. And that's something that I definitely will pick up even when it's a lower end brand. So like Forever 21 has some really cute like animal, not like animal print, like leopard print, but like actual animals on the shirt. Those are really popular. So that's one of those exceptions for me.
This is a Target brand. I'm just going to really quick go through some of my solds that are. So this is a Target brand, Ava and Viv. I just sold that one the other day. Went for $18, but it's a plus size Target brand. So, you know, that was a pretty decent sale. Worthington is, I think, JCPenney's house brand, or is it JCPenney or Sears? I can't remember. I think it is Penny. So, but anyway, this is $16. You know, I sold it the other day and that was, you know, I don't even remember what I paid for it. I had it for so long. And this is Urban Outfitters Urban Renewal. So what they did was they took old fabrics and they upcycled them and made, you know, newer clothes out of them. So cute idea. It was a cute shirt, but it only went for $10. But this buyer also bought a pair of, she bought a dish towel and a pair of express jeans from me. So,
cool. So
you know,
bundle.
Yeah. So I was, you know, I mean, Talbot's is another one, but this is a great print. So it went for $15. Again, not big sales, but they all add up. Old Navy, this was new with tags. I sold it for $16, but it was kind of that classic cardigan kind of, you know. Kimchi Blue is another urban brand. This sold for $18.
Yeah, I probably would have picked that one up on style as well because it's the dark background.
Yeah, the style. And then the style. So Wild Fable is another. It's a newer Target brand. It's kind of like edgy and kind of like young. This sold for $12, and it was just, you know.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Ann Taylor, $24. This was new with tags, but you know, again, and then this was a Madewell one did you remember this one, Lola? Yeah, so I found it was called an ex-boyfriend over SAR print shirt. So I sold this one for $30 and I paid just a couple dollars for it. So, you know, so sometimes there's those,
I've had some really good luck with Madewell. I think it's maybe not as great as it used to be. There were times when I would pick up like every pair of Madewell jeans I could find, and they would go for $40 to $60 with like no problem.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier to find in thrift stores now, which means it's also a little bit more plentiful in general. But anything like that that's just like distinctive, has a great print, or anything that's also just like a really great basic, like overalls, definitely still something I would pick up.
So these are some of my solds. Actually, this is a new day and away, as you like to say it, from Target. This I didn't sell these yet. These were in a blue box again, but you know, since they were included in the blue box, they are a size 4X, so I'm happy with that. Nice. Oh, they weren't in a blue box. They were from Thrift to You. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I showed them in the haul. And then there's a few shoe brands that are also a kind of bread and butter shoe brands. Now I have these up for a little more, and some of them will sell for a little bit more, but like a lot of those comfort brands, Clark's, Born, Skechers is one, Aerosols, Soft is another. Like they're kind of the bread and butter brands of shoes, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think, Lola?
You're the shoe expert. I do not sell enough shoes to have an opinion, but I trust.
Yeah. Here's a pair of baby jeans that I got again. These came from a blue box, and these I have up for $17. Not a big, I expect, maybe I'll get 15 or so for them, but still, they're, and then here's an example of Skechers that, these, oh, I sold, these are sold. I'm sorry. Yeah, these are sold. I think these were sold too.
Looks like it. From
and then, yeah, these were sold for 17. I'm sorry.
Not
and
bad.
then I had some mixed in. Yeah, I did sell these for $18.99. These were, so these are Bob's from Skechers, but Skechers is one of those. I just sold a pair of Skechers sneakers for 15. Skechers are something that don't always sell for a lot, but they're kind of like they're kind of like a bread and butter sneaker brand. So yeah, so, and that's all I have to show on my screen.
Heather says that the boots that she asked you about are over $155 getting bids. That's great news.
Nice, Heather. Good job. That's awesome.
I hope.
Yeah, I'll have to forward you her photos of
oh,
yeah,
great.
she had asked me.
I'm curious how much time is left.
So
when we can, how long we can be rooting for you to make sure you get more bids.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. So let's see, we have they were kind of like Western boots.
Oh, cool.
I can't remember the brand that
you had some great.
Yeah. So we have
for what you pass on. Do you want to go over some of that?
Yeah, we can do that, I guess, a little bit. So yeah, so we've covered a lot of the brands and what to look for, whatnot. Uniqlo, another one, Chico's, Talbot's, all of so basically, so the Target brands, I do pick a lot of them up if they're new with tags, just because of the fact that they will do well. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right there. Sorry, my kids are driving me a little bit crazy. So Target, so yeah, they basically revamped their in-house brands, and they are more on trend. Like A New Day and Wild Fable is more, I think, more on trend than Exhilaration and Morona used to be. So just to grab. So what to stay away from? Mostly, I stay away from most of the Kohl's brands and the collabs, unless there's something really exciting or you're paying like nothing or next to nothing or buying it for yourself. For some reason, like Kohl's kills brands. And I think a lot of it is because they don't have limited collabs. They have like house collabs that, like the Vera Wang. I'm going to have to hold on a second.
Yeah. Or like Elizabeth and James, I think was one that we were talking about, like RIP, because
yeah, Lauren Conrad is another one.
Yeah, they were about to go under, but then Kohl's bought them to become a house brand, and it's definitely going to change the resale value of even the older pieces, just because the brand perception is so different. And there was one time that Nate and I were at a store and found like a whole treasure trove of new with tags Kohl's pieces. And do you remember this, when we found all the like new with tag stuff from Kohl's, and we started doing some comps?
Yes, from Kohl's, and none of them, yeah. So I did buy a couple of them for myself, and I wear, like, there's one, I think it's a So brand, or Sonoma, one of those, that is super cozy. It's like one of my favorite sweaters.
Oh, really?
Resale, I couldn't have given it away, but yeah. So sometimes, I'll buy it for myself, but I wouldn't. Most of the Kohl's brands, with few exceptions to the rules, don't, they just don't go. So I do stay away from those. I stay away from the very low end department store brands like Faded Glory, No Boundaries, those are Walmart, Sag Harbor, St. John's Bay. I just got a St. John's Bay in a blue box, and I'm like, so I'll still put it up there, but I'm not going to get more than a few bucks for it if I'm lucky. You can lot them. That's another point. Yeah, that's good. That is a good point. You can lot them. Like let's say you have a No Boundaries tank top, maybe you want to put together a tank top lot or something, but I stay away from those. And then avoid outlet items unless the style is very good, you said, and check carefully for flaws.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that sort of depends.
And then we have tips just for
I mean, it depends, like the outlet items, if it's a great style, then it's everyone sort of has their own comfort point with how much to to spend on things. It was from the bins maybe, and I wasn't vending other stuff, but that's also the kind of items I always find myself throwing back first. So yeah, so I had a few key points that I thought were kind of consistent between the brands I was looking at, and sort of summarize what we've been talking about so far. So for these brands, I always try to limit my investment. So the bins, again, you know, or blue boxes, things like that, great places to get them. Or if there's $1 a day. Otherwise, I wouldn't pay even full thrift store price for them usually, but there are always outliers. Keep an eye on trending styles, especially from, slightly higher price point brands, and then look for those pieces as they're emulated by the more bread and butter brands, because people will be looking for those. Staple pieces are generally great, like jeans, jean skirts, turtlenecks. They might not bring as much, but they're never out of style. And then a limited edition and like collab type pieces are generally good to pick up. Like we said, some of them, like certain pieces from Denim, don't move, but I definitely would probably still bought it and tried, because it's hard to have a complete encyclopedic knowledge of which pieces from a collab did well and which were duds. So
yes, that's true.
And then take a look at the fiber or the fabric tag and look for natural fibers, cashmere blends. Like I mentioned, the more cashmere, the better. The Italian yarn sweaters from Banana Republic, things like that. It's also helpful to see, even if you're looking at like a J. Crew piece or something, and check if it's silk versus rayon. Like that can matter in terms of the price. It's always helpful if an item was worn on TV by a celebrity, by an influencer, that kind of thing. And then it's also helpful to know the sister brands of big names. So there might be a diffusion brand or a sister brand that you don't know of. So it's
like Massimo Dutti is actually Zara.
I only know that brand because it's fairly common in Europe. I don't think it exists in the US at all. But so if you found it,
I have seen it on like Posh and eBay and all. I know it does do it. Yeah. So.
And I think for these brands, I would definitely pick up any outerwear. So if you're one of the people who is able to go into thrift stores now, it's a good time of year to be looking through those jacket racks. If that's some part of the store that you usually skip, because that was across the board. Almost every brand, the highest sold items were outerwear. So, yeah. Heather.
Yeah, that's a good. I think I'm sorry.
So the best way is on the Poshmark app, you can look up the user, and Nay is Thrifty Nay.
I'm Thrifty Nay.
I'm Run Lola Run. I don't have much listed right now because I'm sort of taking a break, but definitely follow us. If you follow us, we will follow you back and share and support you.
I have like 859 items up right now, so I have items listed right now. But so that's the bulk of our show. One thing too with Kohl's brands, one exception I think I would make is if I find like a lot of Kohl's new with tag plus size items that are cute, because plus size is one thing that in any brand, even sometimes like in the Faded Glory and No Boundaries, if it's cute enough and all, plus size items tend to be the exception to a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Not always, but
I think that's a good thing to mention, that there are always exceptions to rules. So this is sort of what we find true, 8 to 9 times out of 10, but every now and then there will be something we are, breaks the rules or that we're not familiar with. But
yeah.
And Lori just said something so sweet. Thank you for telling us this. This is awesome. She bought a box of CDs and one of the cover art was Becky Herring. I'm so glad that you gained some knowledge from that episode. It was such a fun episode to do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's so nice to hear when we actually, teach some people stuff that they actually, can go back and tell us stuff.
And Heather asks if she has to get the app. You don't have to get the app. You can also use it in the browser like Nay is doing right now.
You can go on the browser.
Personally, I find it easier to use the app. It's a little bit more robust and has more features. But if you just want to look through our closets, especially days with so many, and you
can just go to Poshmark.com.
Yeah, and then look up Thrifty Nay on the website.
So this is our market report. I'm just going to go through these really quick. I sold, this is another example of kind of a weird bread and butter brand that I wouldn't have expected. So these were in a blue box. These were in a blue box, jean box. And Kim Kardashian, I was like, I don't know about that. But they were a size 14, curvy, skinny. So maybe the curvy and the 14 did it. But the Poshmark buyer bought them outright for $25 and they paid the full shipping price. So which hardly ever happens on Poshmark. You know, I'd list them at 25. So that was a good thing. The whole blue box was $19.99. So I paid roughly $2 for those. This I paid $0 for because it is.
I think this was from last week.
Yeah. So what did I show this?
I think you showed this.
I showed it to you.
It was such a. Oh, maybe you did. I don't remember.
I think I just showed it to you. So I sold it for $24.50. I got it for $0 because it was actually mine from back in the 90s. So I actually had kept this, and you know, it had some. Did I show it last week? I hope I didn't show it last week. You did, but this was just. I just sold. I don't know. I just sold that this past week on Depop. So, and I did sell it for $24.50, and this is another one from the Goodwill Blue Box. I sold these 7 jeans. This was a horrible thing that happened though, because I sold them twice. So I sold them. I did list on Poshmark and eBay. And the problem with Poshmark is once you send an offer out to likers, you cannot edit or delete the listing until the offer is up, which is like 48 hours, I think, something like that. So I couldn't edit or delete the listing. Send an offer out for 20. I guess somebody sent me an offer for 22. She sent me an offer for 20, and I countered at 25. Never heard anything for like almost 2 days. And in the meantime, somebody on eBay bought them for $35 plus shipping. And I had, and then no joke, within about 15 minutes, the buyer on Posh accepted my $25 offer at like the 19th hour before the offer ended. It was like ridiculous. So I had to cancel with the buyer on Posh, which I hated doing, but I didn't have a choice because the eBay sale would have had more consequences with the cancellation, and it was the higher sale. So I kept that one. First time that's ever happened to me though. And,
it's definitely not common. I know that's some people's concern when they start cross-listing. It's almost happened to me. Like, thankfully it did not happen, but almost happened to me once. Since it started cross-listing like 3 or 4.
It was the first time that's ever happened to me. And our breaking thrifting news is.
Do you have it? Do you want me to bring it up?
Oh no, I didn't pull up the link. I thought you had the link up there. I can pull it up though.
Nope, it's in my browser. I just wasn't sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So good news is that a federal judge has like officially blocked changes in the USPS that the Postmaster General DeJoy had sort of promised to implement or to not implement some of the changes that could slow down the mail further. And I think all of us at that point, at least me and they, were like, I don't really believe that that's actually going to happen. So now it's gone through the courts, and the judge has blocked these changes and actually said that in places where the mail was slowing down significantly in the lead up to the election, that any like sorting machines that were removed have to go back. So this is quite a good news item. Hopefully, as sellers, it will mean that we'll see a little bit of a return to normal for USPS operations, and also, for other Americans out there who are planning to vote by mail. This also seems like quite a good development for us, so that we can vote safely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's. Yeah. And then, do you have another story that you wanted to share?
So I did not pull up the link, but I noticed this past week on like 3 different like online blog type sites, but then also some larger publications that have like an online arm. Seems to be a trend to start covering second like resale sites like eBay and Poshmark Depop as a shopping trend radar type listing, And so that was super exciting to me because as I mentioned in, in this episode and in other episodes, I think that those kind of articles are really useful for keeping up with trends as like what we should be looking for to resell. But they're also what people use to make their decisions for buying personally. So if there's more of a, that's the, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I put the wrong link in too. So I had that same
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, so I'll find those links and add them to the description, but I'm definitely excited to see this trend, and I hope it continues, and that helps, bring secondhand shopping online even more into the mainstream. And also I think, we can look at those and get an idea of like some insight into our buyers and what they're looking for and their strategies. Cause a lot of it was like thrill hunt kind of thing. Like what do you, how do you find that like elusive item and what are you looking for? So I love that as a buyer for myself personally. And I love it as a seller because I get to know, like, I can help that person find that elusive item they've been looking for 5 years. So, very cool trend. I will make sure and link in the description.
I knew I had a fourth one. And this was the most important one I wanted to show. That's why I'm going back to it. But so I sold this for $80 on Mercari this week. And it is, so this is a bolo as far as not the brand, but the print. So if you find, there's Gasly's by Alexander Henry. There's Gasly's fabric. There's Gasly's clothing. So if you find any fabric or any clothing that is made with this particular, with the Gasly's characters on it, definitely pick it up. I sold this dress, again, not on the brand, but on the fabric and the print for $80. I took an offer of $80. So that was a decent, and it wasn't, like it was a lower end kind of, branded dress. So yeah, so that was a good sale.
That's really cool. I actually was just looking for Halloween fabric on eBay, and some of the more expensive price point fabric was all like Alexander Henry. So I think also, not just this print, but in general, a good
Alexander Henry fabric. Yeah, anything. Yeah. So definitely that's what sold it. I had it up really high at first, like a $149, and I thought $80 was a fair offer. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
So I took that. Yeah, and then the buyer already got paid out. The buyer was happy, and everything's fine. So yeah, so that was a good one. And you can. Oh, we have a question first. We want to know, what are your best-selling or favorite bread and butter brands? Let us know in the YouTube comments. And you can find us all over the internet. Definitely email us, nailothrifts@gmail.com if you have an idea for an upcoming video, if you want to be a future guest, or any other comments or questions. And here we are all over. Heather, that's my Poshmark. That's Lola's Poshmark. So
we're the same on Poshmark.
Yeah, and then I'm mostly Thrifty Day, except on eBay I am Cold Braid. Asterisk Dazzle, and once Lola gets her eBay store back up and running, we will get her on there too. And her spouse Chris is helping with some of it. So hopefully
it's really fun to like talk about, items and teaching some of my like the basics and how to measure, and we're figuring out like an organization system together, so everything's even more organized than it was before, which is
nice.
It's not my strong suit. I
think it's more of Chris's strong suit. Yes. So that's a definite good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you. And next week again, we will be back with, not that. Oh, I thought I had the darn thing. Okay, there it is. I knew it was one of those tabs. I can't tell what any tab is. So we will be back with all about ties and scarves next week on 9/25 at 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. And on October 2nd, I won't spill the beans yet, we have our show for that day planned too. And we're going to have a very special guest who you all might be familiar with.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
if you do have any questions you would like us to answer about ties and scarves, I don't think we've said this for other episodes, but it goes for every episode.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Then ask us in either, the YouTube comments or email us, and we will make sure and talk about that, whatever.
Good point. Yeah. Let us know if you want us to talk about anything. So yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This was another long show, but hopefully you learned a lot.
I'm so much better at keeping things to like an hour. And here
I know we've been doing really good at it. This was just a lot of information. So there's so many bread and butter brands out there and so much to look for. So hopefully you found this educational, and have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.